Andy, do you want to go ahead and start? Can you hear
Yep,
me?
go ahead and start, Jean.
Okay, excellent. All right. Well, welcome, everybody. I'm really excited tonight. Our Think Like a Pro group is growing every week. Tonight, we're very, very privileged to have Pro 10 Lynette Cunningham on. Lynette is one of my mentors. She helped me get started 10 years ago. I met she and Brandon, Fred, Brian Ceroli, and I was very impressed with everyone, and I got started almost immediately. Lynette really helped me get my clinic started and introduced this to my office with me. So Lynette's a Pro 10. She and Brandon are leaders in this company, have been from day one, and I'm really happy that she's here to share her story and her excitement of what's going on lately. Lynette, welcome.
Thank you so much, Jean. I'm excited to be here. You guys, Jean asked me to come on here tonight and share a little bit of my story. I know many of you have heard it, but chances are there's many who have not. And so I just wanted to share my story with you and give you kind of a perspective as to where we're at right now. And it's an exciting time. And I want to take you back to when this was introduced to me. Brandon and I ran our own businesses. We had not done network marketing before. We were not looking to do network marketing. In fact, it was the complete opposite. But you can't deny the significance of Pro Tandem Nerve 2. You just can't. And everything in my gut told me that this could be big. And it's so funny because every once in a while I call to mind, I feel so old when I say this, but we actually faxed our application in. And when I faxed that application in, my enroller, which is Brandon's cousin, faxed me back congratulating me. And her little handwritten note said, "I think this might be big." And Brandon and I kept that note because we laugh today thinking, yeah, you were right. It was big. It is big. And so, part of our journey in this, our enroller lives in Texas. Her upline lived in Arizona. We were in Florida. The only other distributors in Florida were Gabe and Jill Pearson, about 3.5 hours north of us. They had just enrolled the month or two prior to us. And so there really was nothing going on for us to plug into. And when we scheduled our first meeting, one of the best things that happened to us is that one of the first few people we had on our invite list was a nutrition shop owner and personal trainers that went to our gym. And we had them on our list, just like this is a given, like these people, this is going to fit so perfectly for them. And Brandon called and invited them to our very first meeting. And their response was, "Yeah, we're coming." And Brandon's like, "You're coming?" Yeah, we're coming. And he's like, "Did you know about it?" Like, he's just inviting them and they act like it was already a plan. And like, "Oh yeah, my sister lives out in Arizona and she told us we should come." And we're like, "What? They're already getting our people?" So this sense of panic set in because we are like, yeah, there's potential here, but they're already reaching our network. We have to work faster. And that is exactly what we did. We had so much FOMO that we started working like crazy people. Like it was just this urgency of we have to get this message in front of people. And we were told that, it's about like in a fishing analogy. If you were to have a net that you were going to cast to catch fish, they said the bigger the net, when you find the fish, the more you'll catch, right? And they were comparing that to this business. Like the bigger your network, when this thing takes off, the more of this company is going to be under you. And so with that urgency, we got to work. And as I said, we didn't have experience. So it's not like we came to the table and, had this idea of how to do things. It was very much a matter of failing forward, right? But doing it every day and not being afraid to step up and get uncomfortable. And I'm going to tell you, there's lots of things about this business that have made me uncomfortable. There's lots of things about this business that still make me uncomfortable. But you have to ask yourself if it's worth it. I enrolled someone recently and she's struggling. She's struggling with fear of what other people think of her. And, it's hard because if you could just let them in your head, if they could just see what you see, that wouldn't stop them. That the fear of what other people think would not faze them. And I tried expressing to her, I'm like, listen, no's are uncomfortable, but every no I got was worth getting me to where I'm at. And standing in front of a room and being concerned about saying the wrong things and people criticizing the words that are coming out of your mouth, it's uncomfortable, but you do it anyway and you grow from it. One of the first times that I spoke on stage at an elite academy, I was a nervous wreck because we have some dynamic women speakers, right? And I mean, they get on the stage and they're full of enthusiasm and they deliver this powerful message and they get the crowd hyped, and that's just not me. Like I just kind of talk from my heart. I don't have like this whole little, fireworks that go off when I talk. And a mentor said to me, if you can impact one person, then you did what you came to do. And I was like, okay, all right. Surely I can relate to one person in the crowd. So my point is this, you guys, there's lots of things in this business that you go through that make you uncomfortable. But if you keep doing it, if you feel the discomfort and do it anyway, then know you're going the right direction. And that experience that Brandon and I had early on in our business that caused us to feel this urgency and that feeling that we had to run has paid off massively. Massively. I cannot underestimate or emphasize enough how big of a deal that was for our business, because people don't like, they hear what you say, but they're watching what you do. And for the people that were around us, they were watching our urgency. They could sense our urgency, and it was infectious. It was like, oh, like, I got to move too. Like, if I don't move, they're going to get my people. That was an urgency that we created, right? And you can do that within your own team. Right now, these bonus pools that are happening, I don't know if you've noticed, but for our team, we're seeing people do things that we haven't seen them do in years. And it has everything to do with that, like this FOMO, this urgency, like, oh, that person's doing it. Oh, okay, I got to do it. It's crazy what this has stirred up in people. But the point is this, we have it within us. We make excuses for why we don't take action and why we don't do things. But the reality is we all have it within us. And right now, this company is at such a sweet spot. If you only could see what Brandon and I are doing on a daily basis, it would blow your mind. Because I'm going to tell you, when we got involved with LifeVantage, we had a goal. That goal was Master Pro 10. We hit that goal 6 years ago, you guys. Why are we still doing this? Why are we still engaged the way that we are? There's a lot of lives that can benefit the same way that ours has. And the reality is this, we've learned firsthand over the years that if we're going to help other people to accomplish what we accomplished, we can't just tell them what we did. We have to show them how to do it every day. And so if you're not where you want to be, depending on the size of your team, you can't look to them to get you there. You got to show them how you intend to get there, and then they'll come with you. It starts with you. And by you continually taking that action, of course, your team is growing, you're getting more enrollments, but they're watching you, which means they're going to imitate the behavior that you're setting as an example. And what I sense with the company, with everything that's happened, first off, I have to tell you, when we started down this trek over a year ago to create a system that this entire company would use and say every time that they spoke, every time that they trained, every time that they taught, we're all saying the same thing. It felt a little bit like a pipe dream. It felt like the impossible. Not just because when you have a group of leaders, they're all leaders. So to try to get everybody to go the same direction, it's not the easiest thing in the world. But in addition to that, in talking to many other industry leaders, they're just like, when you've got a company that's already accomplished what y'all have accomplished, to try to get everybody on the same page, I mean, it would be awesome. I mean, if you could do it, it would be huge. If you could do it, you guys will have growth like you've never had before. But, you know, well, we did it. We did it. This entire company is walking in step to the same beat. We're all on the same page, and that means growth. We've experienced a lot of growth in this company. We've seen crazy things happen in this company. Brandon and I had our organization go from like 150,000 to 300,000 in 1 month's time. It was insane. We're back there. We're back there. That is exactly where this company is positioned to be. And we feel it. And when you feel it, you don't wait. If you're you guys, you know, like the surfing analogy, if you see the wave coming, you can't wait until it reaches you to start paddling to get to it. You're too late at that point, right? You've got to be setting up for it. And so I don't know what you've been doing over the past few months. Hopefully you've been preparing for this day. Whether you have or not, you better get after it now, because we're not sleeping on it. There's too many massive things that come from the timing and the situation that we're all positioned in. So Brandon and I have been on Zooms, on late night calls, on three-way calls, like just all days, all hours of the day, all because we know where we're positioned as a company, and we know what that's going to mean for so many people. And just like my new enrollment, how I just go, oh, if she could just get in my head, if she could just understand what it means to get out of your comfort zone and what that could do for her. I'm feeling that exact same thing for you guys, because we've been here for 11 years. We've seen like the full gamut. We've seen the massive growth. We've seen the flat line. We've seen a little dip off, like we've been through it all. And what we're sensing right now is unbelievable. I don't know if you guys have been taking advantage of the new app, but I'm going to tell you right now, that's a game changer. That is a game changer. We have people that are getting enrolled and they're going, my grandmother can do this. Like, this is so simple. And even as I'm sending out videos, I'm like, holy crap, this is insane. I'm like connecting with people on social media. There's a level of interest. And, you know, sometimes you guys, these people that you meet on social media, you don't have a deep relationship with them or anything. So the conversations are a little superficial, and, you know, to be able to just boom, boom, like send the videos out without a whole lot of effort, the time that you can save in doing that, the follow-ups that your app prompts you to do, that, like, if you've not delved into that, I'm telling you right now, it's insane. And it's makes us quite a bit different than other companies. It's like just another feather in our cap as to the simplicity of this business that we have, between the system that's easy for people to understand, easily duplicated, and the app that makes things like just like a no-brainer. I know it's a little bit intimidating to even talk about if you've not explored it, but once you get in there, you'll realize, oh my goodness. Do you know how many times I've needed to reference, like, how much PV is on the probiotic again? I don't remember. Let me just look at the app right here. And about 10 seconds later, I can pull up the form that shows everything. Oh, it's right here. It's like stock full of information right at your fingertips. So all I'm telling you, you guys, is where we're at as a company right now. I don't know if it gets any better than this. I don't know if it does or not. All I know is I'm not waiting to find out. I'm not going to chance this wave passing and then going, oh, that was the one I was supposed to take. I'm not doing it. I'm taking full advantage of what's in front of me. And honestly, you guys, like, I'm hitting up some people that I love in my life and going, you've known about this for a while. You've been sitting back and not really acting on it or doing anything. You better now, because it's about to go. So I don't know where your heads are in this space, you guys, but I'm going to tell you, it's time to take action. Now's the time. Whatever your obstacles are, push them out of the way, get beyond it, do some personal development if your head is what's keeping you from getting to where you want to go, because it's a game changer. And like what the life that Brandon and I have right now, never dreamed that was possible. Never dreamed that this many years later, I would still be earning the check that I'm earning, and recognizing that it's only going up. So anyway, I hope that you guys have been able to feel a little bit of my excitement, the passion that I feel for what we have as a company, who we are as a company. That drives me almost as much, because I care so much about this company. It's done too much for Brandon and I. And we have this sense of, I wouldn't use the word obligation, because it's not an obligation, more appreciation that motivates us to do the things that we do. So anyway, Jean, thank you for asking me to be on. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them, but just kind of gives you a little perspective or insight into my head.
Thank you. And thank you and Brandon for being who you are, because you're great leaders in this company and you're an inspiration. I can tell you, it's very, very impressive to see that you continue to work hard. And I know you don't have to, but it's very impressive. And I'd love to have you, if you would, answer a few questions. We have about maybe 5 minutes. So
Sure.
Vandy, can you handle I think she's there. She's host.
Yeah, anybody can just unmute themselves if they have a question.
Okay, very good. Okay.
Lynette, may I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So doing the business with your husband, have you both always been on the same page?
Yes, for the most part. I mean, there was a point in time, and it was around the brink of probably Pro 5, Pro 6, where you're working your butt off and your check really doesn't reflect how hard you're working. At least it didn't for me, because Brandon and I had pretty successful traditional businesses. So when I worked that hard in my other businesses, the compensation was quite a bit more. And when you're used to traditional business, it's hard to change that mindset. So we reached this point of frustration because we were running our traditional businesses. We had young children, and now we added to it this team of people who was all looking to us for support. And we were there for them at all hours, all days. We were there for them. And you get this kind of burnout factor. And there were times that it's funny. I don't remember when exactly this was in our business, but I remember one day we were just so busy that we weren't even really communicating. And one day I overheard Brandon say something like he was flying out of town the next day or something like that. I mean, it was years ago. And I was like, what? And he was like, you knew that. And I was like, no, I didn't know that. And he was like, well, it's on the calendar. And I was like, I'm your wife. I'm not looking at a calendar. So it's where we were at that moment in time. We were buried and we were frustrated. And so it was just a matter of going, okay, slow down. We need to fix this. And so what we did, we instituted at that time, waking up at 6:30 in the morning so that we could have coffee together and talk and make sure that we were in alignment and on the same page for what was going on. Because our kids were still sleeping at that point, so we could actually communicate. And that became like our most precious time. And it's funny because still to this day, that's like our favorite time. We get up and have coffee together, and now we just sit by each other and read like personal development and stuff, but we still enjoy that time. But so we did have the same goals, but there were times where we just weren't communicating great. And that posed some challenges.
Thank you for being so real. That was excellent. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Lynette, I have a question for you. I know as an elite, we're all very goal oriented. What did it feel like when you actually hit your goal of Pro 10?
Well, that was, that was insane. Absolutely insane. Because it's funny, with each rank, you have this expectation of what it's going to feel like when you get there. And then a lot of times when you get there, it's like, okay, now what? Like, do we get up and do it again tomorrow? So when we hit Pro 10, it literally like was for those of you who don't know Brandon and I's story, we qualified for Pro 10 at the end of the month by $5. $5 is how much we made it by. So when you're talking about that type of volume, and we weren't balanced, so we were way over $1 million in order to make that qualification, but we hit it by $5. And so it was numbing. It was like we just were numb that it actually had happened. But the weird thing is the next day you wake up and you're Pro 0, right? Like, because the month started again. and it's like, I don't even know what to do today. Like, I don't know what to do. It was the weirdest thing. That's all I can say. It was weird, but very exciting also.
Wow, that's excellent. That's excellent. Are there
Hi,
any other
can you
questions?
hear me?
Yes, I can hear somebody.
Hi, it's me, Rana from New Jersey. Hi, Lynette, thank you for tonight. It's very inspiring. And I just want to ask you, what do you do daily? What's your daily method of operation? If you can just give us like your hourly or whatever your routine is, daily routine.
Yeah. So my morning, I always start my morning reading. Every single morning, I spend about 30 minutes reading. Then I work out and shower. And by the time many people are just getting out of bed, I'm like showered, hair done, ready to go. I spend a lot of time volunteering, and I also spend a lot of time helping and supporting the team. So, Brandon and I's team is quite large. We do a lot of different things in regards to whatever we can facilitate for the team. So whether or not we're running promotions or recognizing, or we're working on something in the future towards something that we can funnel the team. So Brandon and I just kind of collaborate on those things. And in amongst that, I'm doing my own things on social media to connect, follow-ups, all of those different things that are, income producing activities get intermingled. But it's really, we've been doing this for so long, and Brandon and I's, we've always been self-employed. So it's very normal to us to be working from home. Like I think for a lot of people to work from home, there's a lot of liberties that are taken. Brandon and I treat it very much like a job, in that we're in the office by a certain time, working and productive and trying to get things done. So there's not an exact formula that I use each and every day, because I feel like the needs of what we have with our size organization varies from day to day. And, my kids, I have a 13 and 15-year-old, they do online school at home. So their needs have to be met as well. So it's just a flexible calendar, I guess you could say, as to what happens on a daily basis, but very routine in the first portion of the day, in that I get up and get I call it my miracle morning for any of those who have read that book before. I get up and get that out of the way, and then I've got the mindset to be able to take on everything else that comes my way that day.
That's good. Thank you so much for sharing.
Sure.
If I can steal one more question, I've been dying to ask you, like with third-party calls, since you're a Pro 10, and you explain to people, is it so much easier that you almost don't need a third-party call? Or how do you do that? And what do you find works best for you?
Yeah, no. So what I've learned is if a person actually understands what my husband and I have accomplished, it almost turns them off, in the sense that, at least this is my personal experience, in the sense that they feel like they've already missed out on the opportunity, or they're not going to receive our support because of our level of success, or like they discount us before I even have a chance to give an argument. So I've learned that I have to downplay what we've accomplished in order that it seems attainable, because if it seems too out of reach, then they don't even try for it. So I've just come to learn that through my interactions over time. And the other thing is I do always want to use third party, because I also know that people do what you did. So if I'm going to enroll somebody and I tell them everything they need to know, then they're going to duplicate that. And then when I tell them, hey, you've got to use the team, you got to use third party, they're going to, in their head, go, well, you didn't do that. You told me everything I needed to know, so I can do that too. So I do it more for example than anything else, because of course I can tell them, but like the girl that I enrolled the other day, she spoke with somebody else. I didn't do that all myself. And it's all because you have to do what you want duplicated.
Thank you. That just confirms everything anyone has ever told me, but I've never asked a Pro 10.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Lynette. I have a question as well.
Okay.
I really love listening to you all the time, because I feel like, oh, I can relate to her. And I definitely follow you quite a bit. What I want to ask you is one area that I'm really struggling with, and I'm sure other people are too. What is the best way, or what is the follow-up system that you have in order to stay organized? Because there's so many different follow-up systems, some done on paper, some done on cards, some done in CRM systems. And I have no idea where, I lose people because there's too much going on.
Yeah, so I've yet to figure out the perfect follow-up system. I'm just being honest with you. I've got a little bit of everything. I've got a 3-ring binder. Because I listen to people who have different things set up, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's good. I'm going to do that. And then I start down that path and I don't continue with it. And so then I'm like, no, this one works better for me. And then I do that. So unfortunately, I don't have an amazing answer for you, but I'll put reminders in my phone. There's apps that are available, but again, you have to plug the information in or else you don't get the reminders. I've done Google spreadsheets where, I've gone in and documented it that way under Google Docs. I mean, full gamut. I've got it all, but none of it's in one spot. So that just goes to show you what's possible. It's funny, when Brandon and I we're growing our business. And, when we first started, and my method for follow-up was I had a recipe box with index cards. And I would, with the index card, I would write it on there. And I just kept that little recipe box on my desk and I'd write it on there. And, you know what? Maybe I should go back to that. They worked really well.
I've been doing like you have. I have so many different systems and I can't stick to one because it's so frustrating.
I know. I do love the concept of the app because if you use it, it's good. Like you have all your information there, you know when to follow up. I've just not been disciplined in using it. So
yeah, it would be nice if we can find one place where you can keep track of your chats, your messages from Messenger, your LinkedIn, your Instagram, and your emails all in one place.
I know. We need a little like not a second, like an assistant to follow us around.
A virtual assistant. Yeah.
That's right.
Thank you so much. I don't feel so bad now, but if you do find a great system, you gotta let us know.
Okay.
I have a question, Lynette.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm Beth Busa from New Jersey. Thank you. We adore you. You're like, especially in conventions, it's like looking up to you. You're a Pro 10, you're the superstars and all that. Thanks for reminding us that you were once a Pro 1.
That's right.
And became a Pro 10. It's very inspiring for us. But and my question is, because time and time again, sometimes we feel like sometimes it's not working for us, and we want to throw out the towel and say, I quit. But things like that, we get frustrated. Was there ever a time that happened to you, and what did you do to get back on your feet and do it again?
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, this whole ride is a roller coaster ride. Like there's times where you dip in your emotions and even you're questioning yourself, like, why am I feeling this way? I have no reason for this, no excuse for this. The absolute worst when I was ready to quit, like done, was when I was Pro 5. And it was for the reasons that I said. We were just working so hard with our traditional businesses, our kids. We had a team that we were supporting, and we were burnt out. We were burnt out, and it just didn't seem worth it. Brandon and I hit Pro 5. I can't say for sure, but it was around the 6-month mark, maybe 7 month, I don't know. So we weren't like, it happened fairly fast for somebody with no experience. And so our team was of a size where they were just depending on us, and we weren't managing it well. We were just saying yes to everybody and everything. And so I was ready to quit. The good news is that Brandon wasn't ready to quit on the same day. It was a different day. But what I did is I called my upline and I was like, I'm ready to stop. Like, this is insane. And, she did that whole feel, felt, found thing, right? Like, she was like, I get it. Like, I've been there. I know exactly what you're feeling. Just take a breather, take a break, take a me day, do what you need to do to rejuvenate, and then get back at it. And, all it takes is one good call to spin that truck around. Like, you're down in the dumps, and then all of a sudden somebody on your team calls and they just enrolled something, and you're like, wow, let's go. So, you just have to kind of know that you're in a moment and it will pass. You don't stop the behaviors that you should do. I will say that I've advised people before, if you are really, really low, just take a breather, go take the day for yourself. Because here's the thing, we all know that if our signal is down, we're not attracting anybody to us. You have to have your signal up in order for people to be attracted to you. And so if you're down in the dumps, you need to pick yourself back up before you start talking to other people. So whatever that means for you to get yourself out of that place, that's what you need to do. And I know one person that I kind of coached through that just went and spent the day, went to the movie theater, like left the phone at home, just went and took the day for herself. So whatever it looks like for you, but you have to know that it's very normal in this business, you're not alone if you have those feelings. Just know that it's a day, or 2 days, maybe 3 days, it'll pass, and then it'll be all worth it again. Because I look back now and I know how strongly I felt about wanting to quit at that point. And it was strong, like I was ready. And I look back and I go, oh my goodness. Can you imagine if I would have quit? And so, you can't see into the future, so you don't know what the future looks like. But one thing you can be certain of is if you quit, you won't be where you want to be. So you just have to remind yourself of that when you're down in the dumps, and just keep going.
Thank you so much for that, Lynette.
You're
I'm
welcome.
gonna go to the movies tomorrow.
Good. You might need it then.
Yeah.
I had a couple of questions, Lynette, and I'm so glad to be a part of y'all. My challenge, a lot of times, I just don't feel like I'm leading my group like I should. I seem like I don't necessarily mean I do enough. I mean, what can I do more to encourage them and to feel like I'm leading them in a good direction?
Well, listen, it's not so much about encouraging them, it's about inspiring them. And the only way you're going to inspire them is with your actions. So you have to be pouring into yourself. That's why personal development is such a key thing. So many times, listen, this entire business, I didn't realize, but this entire business, you rip off and repeat with social media. You find something amazing, you rip it off and you repeat it, and then your database thinks you're a rock star. And as far as leadership goes, you just go read what other leaders have already written, and you digest it, and then you regurgitate it. And again, woo, you're such an amazing leader. It's just a matter of that you're feeding yourself. And when you feed yourself, you've got something to offer. Your confidence is higher. Your belief is higher. You're like, people are attracted to it. You can't deliver that if you're not pouring into yourself. So that's one place that I would absolutely start. And the second thing is you have to be taking action. If you don't feel like you're leading, then you're probably not, right? So you've got to figure out, okay, what does it look like? What if I had the ideal distributor on my team, what would that look like? And am I that person? Because if you're not, then you can't necessarily expect that you're going to attract that. So it has a whole lot to do with what you're doing, what you're feeding yourself, and not encouraging, but inspiring. That's the difference.
Well, I woke up at 2:30 this morning thinking what I was going to do to a client that I was meeting later on.
Oh my goodness.
Have you ever woke up in the night thinking about, okay, this is what I got to do with this? But I did go back to sleep pretty easily.
Well, that's good. You probably wouldn't have had a whole lot to offer if you'd have stayed up.
Love you guys. Thank you for all what you do.
Thank you, Betty. Thank you.
Lynette, thank you. We're going to cut it off here. We try to keep this call to 30 minutes. So
Okay.
thank you for your inspiration.
Absolutely.
It's great to hear this over and over again. I love it. So I
Right.
never tire of hearing it. So thank you very much for getting on our call.